The annual online auction raising money for the Glide Foundation in San Francisco to help the homeless. It's reached over $3 million, beating out the $2.68 million winning bid from last year. We were curious how that stacks up. So $2.68 million on the right side of your screen there for 2017, almost $3.5 million in 2016, Mike. $2.3 million back in 2015. There must be some cosmic tell in all of this.
I wonder. I try to chart that. You did have a little bit of a market hiccup from 15 into 16, but obviously it's going to be a big game this year.
It is, but
it's already
still not back above the 2016.
Well, not yet, right? Is the bidding done?
I think it ends today, any minute now.
You might have the reserve bid
tonight, maybe. Yeah, so get going, people. I mean, it feels to me like people are lucky for every successive year that this is still on the table. They should.
It's totally true, right? I mean, it's not going to be forever. On the other hand, when it was first done, it was such a novelty. The whole concept of having, an hour of Warren Buffett's time, he's become a lot more publicly accessible.
By the way, this has launched a lot of careers. There's a lot of value investors who have had lunch with him, or
that's who usually wants to do it. They actually think that they can get some great value out of it.
And in many ways it has. So I think we were saying it ends at 10:30 p.m. tonight. Okay. So there is still time to get those bids in, but I can't come up with a market tell for it.
No, it's a little bit tough to make the call.
Not
enough
data points. 2014, you'd be like, that was the Silicon Valley, like top of the cycle, but
They were 1999, and everyone said Warren Buffett doesn't know anything about investing anymore.
Dinner with anyone, dead or alive? Probably Warren Buffett. I would just want to sit and just pick up his demeanor, pick up his vibe, and see what kind of man it takes to make that much money, to be that successful in business. Like, what kind of person do you have to be? Not so much business secrets, but like who you are as a person. Like, what do you eat for breakfast? If you're sitting down to do something enjoyable, what is that? Like, what's enjoyable to you, being a person who has been so successful and has made so much money? What is it that makes you tick? And if I can lock into that, then maybe I can apply some of it to my own thing and get a little more money.
As you probably know, Warren Buffett's latest investment was in the stock of Apple, where he accumulated billions of shares over the past 6 months. Now, next week, Apple's got an event on Monday, and traders are considering various possibilities of maybe Apple possibly breaking out above 200 level to its all-time high. So if you are a trader, the next few minutes will walk you through a very simple, basic option strategy on how you can profit from the near-term price movement in the share price of Apple.
Today's highs aside, shares of the tech giant have been trading in a very tight range over the past month. But with its worldwide developers conference kicking off on Monday, could this be the catalyst to take it to $1 trillion and beyond? Let's get into money. Dan, you are trading Apple for us today.
Yeah, so it might be. That range is really interesting. Since May 4th, it's been trading between 185 and basically 190, just banging around in that level. And so when you think about this event, Tim Cook is going to kick it off at 1 Eastern with a keynote, and I don't think expectations are particularly high, and options traders certainly don't. I think the implied move between now and next Friday is a little less than 2%. I mean, the stock was almost up 2% today, so the expectations are not for some new hardware or anything particularly interesting. So I think you could have a scenario here where they talk about services, they talk about all these different expanding operating system ecosystems, watchOS, tvOS, we know iOS, obviously, and macOS. And these are the sorts of things that make people feel better about the services growth, which made up 15% of their total sales in the quarter that they reported just a month ago. So to me, I think you set up for a further consolidation in the near term into this event. But what you really want to set up for is that iPhone guidance. That's what drives this stock, and they're going to probably give that late July, early August, and then you have that hardware cycle, and the stock usually trades into it. So to me, I think you just do a simple call calendar here. Today, when the stock was trading at 190, you could buy the June, September 195 call calendar, paying $5.50 for that, selling one of the June 195 calls at 80 cents and buying one of the September 195 calls for $6.30. Your max risk is that $5.50. What you want this trade to do over the next 2 weeks here is move up towards that 195, kind of break out a little bit, have that June call that you're short expire worthless, and then you own that September one that's going to be near the money, and at that point you could turn it into a calendar again, you could turn it into a vertical spread, but what you're trying to do is chip away at that premium of owning that longer dated call throughout the summer, catching a couple different events.
You know, it's hard for a company this size to make really substantial moves, especially if it's going to be something that's more ecosystem based rather than an update on how the biggest driver of their ongoing profits might be. Although I do think personally that the bloom is a little bit off of the iPhone rose, so to speak, in terms of growth. And the other thing I would notice is that this, the call you're selling is not a particularly expensive one, and it's a good thing that it is about almost 3% out of the money, because otherwise I might not be inclined to sell an 80-cent option on a nearly $200 stock.
Yeah, right. And I just wanted to give it a little room. That's why I chose the 195 strike, because at the end of the day, listen, if it goes to 195, this trade's going to be profitable. You can actually roll out of that short call. But really, I don't think owning premium into this week's event, that's the most important thing, is the right trade to play for a breakout. Carter may have some different views on that setup.
Yeah, I'm in the breakout camp here and now.
But like explosive?
Well, remember, it is a big stock, but it moved from 160 to 190 in a matter of 8-10 sessions post-earnings. Granted, it was down going into that print, but the breakout, the tightest range in about 4 years in terms of 2 to 3 weeks, that tight. You looked at it there on the chart. It closed at the high of the range today. I think it's up and out.
One thing about buying that longer dated option is that over the course of the next week, through the developers conference, that is not likely on its own going to decay very much, right? So, there is some benefit to selling the shorter dated call for the 80 cents that you're going to collect to do it. But you're not going to be offsetting that much decay, really, not in the grand scheme of how much the stock costs.
Yeah, but
so I think
you wouldn't go and buy a September out of the money call for $6.50. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. Is
well,
that's
3%. That's 3% of the stock price, right? Yeah. So I don't think that's such a bad play if you're inclined to get long the stock, is actually to buy longer dated calls in Apple. I think it might be a good play.
It's thematic. It's not. It is specific to Apple, but it's a mindset that's in the market now. People are concerned. The whole synchronized global growth story is very much in question. Again, financials, industrials not performing, and yet Google, Apple, Amazon, the things that have worked. Money is going there.
When you say breakout here now, what is the upside here?
Well, ultimately, if you were to take a measured move, this tight range, it implies about what Dan is saying, 195. But once you're into all-time highs, you can pick the number you want.
Yeah, and I'm going to get the last word here. I think what Mike's trying to say is I'm being a little cute. If you agree with Carter and the technicals and you think the fundamentals are going to be fine next week, but they're not going to surprise the upside, and then you're excited about July guidance and then the phones, then you buy calls, you buy call spreads, you do a risk reversal, you sell a put, buy a call. You do something. I'm just trying to kind of be a little cute here, and I think there's a lot of ways you guys can do it.
You can buy calls here. The options are cheap.
Okay, there you go. Good trade, bad trade.
Hello, fellow traders. A week full of great opportunities ahead of us as the Biotechnology Conference of the Year starts place on June the 4th, the Monday. Lots of biotechnology stocks are going to be skyrocketing, and a number of them are certainly heading significantly lower. Biotechnology stocks present some of the top opportunities when it comes to trading options simply because they're volatile, and when they move, they really move. So some of the stocks I'm watching for next week is REGN, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, and Blue, B-L-E-U, Bluebird. If you're interested in making the best of next week Biotechnology Conference, indeed there's about 20 stocks, 20 biotechnology stocks on my watch list that could move significantly upward or downward. So if you really want to reap the full benefits of this, schedule your trading options coaching one-on-one. Schedule your session, 30-minute or 1 hour. Go over specific exact strategies for which stocks. I'll give you the entire list. You'll be able to know exactly what to do, which stocks we're going to be targeting, which levels, everything. So if you are looking for a great trading week ahead, take action now. Visit marketcrash.money, hit the How to Profit button, or schedule your trading options coaching one-on-one, and make the next week an awesome trading week for yourself.